Hello and welcome to In Business Talks 2, a weekly podcast about people who work together as a couple. Learn the secrets of business partnerships, the benefits and pitfalls of working together, be it husband and wife, father and son, mother and daughter, friends, relatives or any other combination of business partnerships. We are your hosts Tracy and Ian, founders of In Business, a networking and business support community. And together we are In Business.
In today's episode, we speak to Elle and Linda Cloke, mother and daughter duo of We Do Social Media. As well as speaking with other couples, we'll let you know of any useful business apps and websites out there that our members have come across and shared with us in our regular weekly online meetings. Plus, we'll tell you about our special bonus episode coming up this Friday, our Friday Fix. So be sure to listen all the way through to the end to find out more. Without further ado, let's crack on with episode 18 of In Business Talks 2. So, hello and welcome to Linda and Elle. They've kindly agreed to join us on our podcast today.
Welcome, good to have you with us.
Thank you. Nice to see you. Well, see you, I suppose.
Yeah. yeah. Do you just first of all want to tell us more about your business and what you do?
Give us a flavour of what you do. Tell us about your business.
I was just going to do the same to you there.
Snooze, you lose.
So we run a company called We Do Social Media. I suppose it says what we do on the tin, but it is a lot more involved. So we do social media for other businesses, but we help them in many ways with their brand messaging and how their website might look after people have gone onto their social media. We consult lots of businesses on growing their social media and marketing presence, as well as doing it for businesses and training businesses to do it themselves.
Cool. Excellent.
Right. There's just the two of you, mother and daughter, in the business, is that right?
Yes. So we run the business, but we have my sister also working for us.
Oh, wow. So there's three of you in this working relationship then, yeah?
Yeah.
So Sam's just started with us, really. She's only been with us a few months now. So she'll be in the next photo shoot and it'll be the big reveal.
Excellent. So I suppose the next question is then, what made you decide to go into business together? How did it come about? Was it a blinding revelation, or what was it that made you get together in the business?
Kicking and screaming. I'll let you say.
So what happened was I was kicking and screaming as well, actually. So I've been running a business for quite some time and recognised that social media was really important for business, and went to quite a few talks on social media and just, came away all excited and did nothing. And I thought, this is ridiculous, doing this. So I employed someone to do my social media for me in my business. And it was a young trainee, and she, funnily enough, convinced me she knew everything there was. But, she set up about 4 Facebook pages for me. So she obviously didn't. But because I was clueless, I didn't know. So anyway, after she'd been working for me for about a year, she asked me to help her set up in business. So I helped her, invested some money. We came up with the name, We Do Social Media. And then we went out and got some clients, and it was all sort of ticking along. And when it was time to pay, I said, you've got to get your name on the bank. And she said, Lynn, I'm really sorry, I've got a job. And I was like, no. So she went off to London, got a job. I went home and pleaded with Elle to join the business. And she said, I don't want to work with you, Mum, no. Eventually she did come and join me, and really took things to a whole nother level. So whereas my idea was just to help businesses by just doing their social media for them, nice and simple, and not really get involved in anything else, because I was still obviously quite heavily involved in my other business, which was the main income earner. But I didn't want to let the clients down that I'd taken on through We Do Social Media, which is why I carried it on. And then Elle started writing training courses. She wrote CPD accredited training courses for LinkedIn, Twitter and Facebook. And she just took the business to a whole nother level. So we became well-known trainers within our area, trained 40, 50 businesses at the same time, went into quite a lot of financial businesses, insurance brokers, and trained in-house. And it really did take it to another level, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Yeah. It was good.
We became keynote speakers at in schools, did a lot of training in schools, and really became keynote speakers for the Chamber of Commerce, for big networking groups. So again, because of what Elle had written, it did take the company to another level, and I was just there really as her sidekick then.
It has
So the roles reversed.
Yeah.
You're working for her now, is that?
Don't you find it interesting how something that sort of quite bad happened, the girl sort of decided to get a job and drop you in it, has led to something really good, but probably an avenue you might not have gone down, and suddenly now you're doing great because.
Oh, absolutely! Because with the coronavirus, I lost my 20-year business, and if we hadn't have had this to fall back on, it would have been pretty disastrous for me.
And I've just come back as well because I left for a couple of years. As being in a family business. At the time as well, we were living together, we were working together, we were socialising together. Mum and I are very close, as well as business partners and family, relatives. We're friends as well. So I ended up leaving for 2 to 3 years, didn't I?
Yes.
And I came back and boom, coronavirus. Oh no, what are we going to do?
Very eventful year. So I mean, it was, when Elle left, it was I really sort of went back to basics, although I carried on doing quite a lot of one-to-one training, and actually I was training quite a lot of businesses on my own as well, mainly on LinkedIn and Facebook, and then when Elle came back again, she's taken it to another level, because she's done training in brand awareness, and it's just, we can offer so much more now. The strategy plans that we offer are so much more in depth. And
so you're stopping this time, Elle? She's not answering that.
There's no stopping or breathing.
So what's sort of your vision then? What vision do you have for your company? Is it to grow it into a large organisation with 20 employees, or is it just, are you going to keep it quite small? What are your plans?
Yeah, we're happy keeping it quite small, to be fair. We did have very big intentions, but we realised we also want a lifestyle. We're not setting up a business to be the next Richard Branson. We're setting up a business so our futures don't have to be dictated by the rat race. Mm-hmm. So really, we want to try and make our business as online as passive as possible, which is an avenue we're working on going down at the minute. But also just helping as many small businesses as we can, but helping ourselves at the same time. So
yeah,
absolutely.
There's plans to grow, but not to make loads.
To have a comfortable lifestyle, basically, isn't it?
To do the things that you want to do, isn't it? That's the reason. That's the reason.
It's about having choice in your life, isn't it? Doing
it?
what you want to do. Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah.
Well,
and what about your roles?
I said to her that I want to retire soon, so I'm looking to retire in 3 years. So when I retire, it'll be Elle that'll be earning my money for me and just paying me for not being there.
Sounds like a plan. Yeah. Hey, can I do that again?
Yeah, no, you can't.
So what are your roles within the business? You've obviously got clearly defined roles within the company, is that right?
Yeah. Yes, I'm finance, trained as an accountant, so I deal with the finances, really. I do the cash flow forecast, profit and loss, deal with the accountant on the monthly management accounts, and send out invoices, things like that, do the cash flows. And then I'm doing the sales as well, and we share the operations side of it. And Elle is all the marketing, so she does all the lead generation. She's the policies and procedures girl, so she makes sure we've got policies and procedures in place.
General development, aren't I? More like growth. In the background as well.
Yeah. Did you just naturally gravitate to those roles, or did you have to sit and say, "Well, you can do this and I'll do that"?
No, we've had our struggle with it. There was definitely a certain period a while back where we were clashing a lot because we didn't have clearly defined roles, and you'll find that with any business relationship they need to have these defined roles. We're lucky enough to have a business coach, so he supported us through it. We know our strengths and weaknesses, so it was then just okay, the paths we are crossing on, let's say client work, these are your clients, these are my clients. If we get a new client, these are the type of clients that will go to you, and these are the type of clients that will go to me. We're very different in our voices as well. So I might be a bit more on the fun side, whereas Mum will be on more of the informative side. So it can really work well.
Yeah, I'd say I'm more practical. I tend to research information quite a lot. So
for client work.
Yeah. So I research. I was researching yesterday for a drainage company. Looking
Lovely.
looking at.
Interesting.
It was. Did you know that the first drainage system was in Babylon in 4000 BC? There you go.
Oh, right, there you go. We didn't know that. I didn't know that. So you say you bring in another daughter into the business. Will she have a defined role, or for the time being, is it just she's going to be like assisting or working alongside each of you? Is that the general idea?
Doing a lot of client engagement at the minute. So a role that Linda and I just don't have time to do, because it is so important. It gets done on a weekly basis, but it's like a 3-day job. So we won't be able to take that on. And then she's going to gradually learning to create content for clients, so she can be a key part of one section of the business.
And she's got a different voice as well, which is good, because there's 10 years or 9 years between Elle and Sam. And, obviously I've gone through my career, lots of careers actually. So therefore we've definitely got a different voice, and I've got experience in a whole range of industries, which has really helped us, with going forward with the different types of clients that we've got. I don't have a problem with property or manufacturing or retail, or I've worked in all those industries. So it makes it easier for me. Samantha is different voice to you. I'm trying to think how she is, but she definitely is, isn't she?
Yeah, a bit more powerful, I'd say. I'm more like, I won't say that, because you get those really like woke people, don't you? So you're like, I'm not going to say that, although I'm thinking it. But Sam's just like, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, wow, that's really good.
Do you agree on everything?
Oh, no.
And if you don't agree on everything, how do you resolve any differences that you have? What is it that you do?
So this is so funny you asked this. I had a meltdown the other day, just absolutely, and it was over the pettiest of things. I think it's something. It was reviewed, and then a change was brought up the other day, and I was like, well, why wasn't this change brought up when we reviewed it, sort of thing? But it was other things piled on top of me. It just caused a breakdown. But what we always do, good old British we are, we'll go outside and have a cup of tea.
Right. Clear the air.
And we'll talk about it, won't we?
Yeah, I mean, I tend to be, I'm a very sideways person, so I sort of go around to get to the point, whereas Elle's more direct, so
straight as a pen.
So she'll find that sometimes a bit frustrating. It's just like, get to the point, mother. So that definitely can be, I've got to try and be more direct, and if I don't like something, just say, no, I think it needs to be like this, and then we can sort it out from there. Whereas I'm like, well, that's good, but maybe if...
a bit more tactful there. It sounds a bit more diplomatic and tactful there.
I am, yeah.
I'm getting a bit more diplomatic, aren't I? A bit more diplomatic in a straightforward way.
Maybe that's the mother and daughter relationship. Maybe that's, as parents we try and, I suppose, package things up a little bit more.
You do it in a positive, negative, positive kind of burger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
that's
obviously you've cottoned onto that now, though.
It's not a bad thing, though. And it goes to show, mother and daughter, we've been together all my life, and we're still learning about each other. So even in any sort of business relationship, you're going to find differences. A good podcast I listen to is a brother and brother business partnership called Knowlton Marketing. And, they suss things out as time goes on. They still learn, and they've had their whole lives together.
Yeah. What was their podcast called?
Knowlton. Their podcast is called Business Anchors.
We like podcasts. We listen to
Yeah.
podcasts
Yeah.
as well as do these.
I like business podcasts.
They're very funny, and we all absolutely love listening to them. I mean, they established their business about the same time as us, but of course they've grown it massively, haven't they? Whereas, as I said, we're just starting, really, I would say, more or less from scratch again now.
7 years later, and we're restarting. Yeah.
We're just restarting. But we're lucky. I mean, although it's like a startup, we've got all the experience behind us, and which is good for our clients.
I think a lot of people feel like they're starting again because of the COVID thing, and there's nothing wrong with that, is there? I think
Sometimes a fresh start's good.
Yeah, and you've got the experience. So
what are the positives of working together as mother and daughter? Then what are the plus sides of working together? Do you see any advantage in being mother and daughter, or how would it be different if you're just business partners?
if you like what you hear so far, make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe or follow button. This podcast is made possible because of listeners like you, so thank you. We really appreciate your support. And why not come along to one of our online networking events? We'd love to meet you. The link to book is in the show notes. If you'd like a free visit, use code POD21. That's POD21 for a free visit. And we'll see you there.
Well, nothing will ever get in our way, sort of thing. It's not something, if we had a little bicker, it's something that will always get resolved. Every family is different, of course, but we're a family that will always come back together, whatever the weather. So even if we do have a bit of a disagreement, it's never going to stop the direction we're going in, because we're in it for each other.
I mean, the other thing as well was when Elle left the business, I mean, she thought I'd taken all the shares back. I never did. So Elle's always been a shareholder in the business, which I think was fairly important when she returned. Still had ownership. Because having ownership is important, going forward, I think. And Elle's always had the ownership. Even when she wasn't there, she had the ownership. And that wouldn't have happened if she hadn't have been related to me. Obviously, the girl that left, she was a 50% shareholder, but as soon as she left and said, I'm not doing it anymore, I changed the limited company and all the shares came back to me. I was 100% shareholder.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think if you're invested in something, you're more likely to give it your all, aren't you?
Yeah, I agree, definitely.
And I think with Elle as well, I mean, I've always been self-employed most of my life, and therefore I realise the freedom that can give you, and also exponentially the earnings it can give you. It gives you the freedom to be able to enjoy more earnings than if you're working for someone, and to be able to give yourself a pay increase when you do well, and maybe when you don't do so well, you have to then drop it. But your lifestyle always more or less remains the same. You've always got that freedom of choice, which when you're employed, a lot of the time you don't get.
Yeah.
So what do you think your individual strengths are then? What are your strengths, Elle? What do you have that you bring?
Good question.
Apart from being as straight as a pen, of course.
I would say her strengths are that she's very persistent. She comes across her communication skills. She communicates very clearly, and she makes things easy to understand for our clients. And I think her knowledge and her ability and her passion to learn new things makes a real big difference to clients. So I would say that's what you bring to the table.
Thanks, Mummy.
Right, Elle, you've now got to say what your mum's strengths are.
She made a good cup of tea.
She can, actually. Experience is a big thing with Mum. She's got such an array of experience that she's been the backbone of running the business, for sure. Little things can happen, and if I was in it alone, I would think it was a massive thing, whereas Mum would be like, oh no, you just do this and it's sorted. So that's, I'd say, one of the top strengths. But on a personal level, it's the support of having your mum as a business partner. Your mum's always going to be your number one fan, sort of thing, and that can really be needed sometimes. But then professionally, she's professional. She knows what she's doing. You're also clear and relatable to all our clients, because some of our clients, you know, are of an old generation. They do struggle with technology and social media. And Mum's been there, whereas I've not. So maybe sometimes my patient hasn't been as high and relatable, because I can't understand why someone wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
You haven't met us too.
Yeah, no, you'd be all right with us. Yeah, your patients will be tested with us. Yeah, definitely.
We do the social media workouts. I don't know if you've seen those, but there's quite a lot of people of my age group in there, and you can see them struggling, especially initially when we first started it, just to get onto the meetings. And Elle would say, the link is in the email. And they're like, where's the email?
What's an email?
But that would really help me, because Mum would dumb it down for me in a sense of, look, not everyone's going to know to check their spam, so what else can you do? So it would be I'll look at all these different avenues, open your mind up a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'd say we are both really patient. Every time we think we've hit a limit, you'll meet someone else that makes you go a bit high.
That stretches that.
Yeah, I have a very readable face, so you'll just see my face like.
So, do you tend to then, because it's a family business, do you tend to talk about business in your downtime as well? Are you constantly talking about the business, or do you say, right, it's 5 o'clock, it's Friday, that's it, we'll leave it for the weekend and back on Monday? How do you work that?
I'm a nightmare.
Me
I
too.
talk business all the time.
Yeah,
It's part of my DNA, I think. I just can't help it. And
it's ingrained into me, for sure. I think family members, definitely, if it's a barbecue or something, we could be talking about work and we'd have to stop ourselves. However, we do have days where we do just say, I've definitely done it in the past, can we just not today? Or you can hear it in my voice. That's another thing about us, I suppose, being family members. We can kind of see where each other are at without needing the guidance, the verbal guidance.
Yeah, I suppose that's the closeness, that's the bond, isn't it, between the two of you?
Yeah, exactly. A funny example this morning is when I'm in the kitchen, I like my alone time sometimes in the kitchen, just to get ready for the day ahead. And my sister, bless her, came in, made her breakfast too, whilst I was making mine. And we were sitting there talking. She's like, well, I know you like your breakfast, so I'm just going to go and leave and I'll eat it outside or in the living room. And I was like, thank you so much. You don't know how much I appreciate you leaving me alone.
Yeah, sometimes you just need that in the morning, don't you, to actually come round and focus.
Yeah.
So do you think the business partnership has strengthened your personal relationship? Being in business together has strengthened that?
Yes, yeah. I mean,
in what way?
Just, I think, giving Elle the room to grow as a person, seeing how committed she is, it makes me very proud. I mean, proud of all my kids anyway. You know, they've all achieved a lot, you know, considering the circumstances they've had to go through, and they've all been through different circumstances. But, you know, they can all deal with them. So I would say it has strengthened. I mean, we even go to the gym together. You know, we do
We're best friends, aren't we?
We do a lot of things together, and that helps when you're doing those things. Yeah, it's really good.
It's built our friendship. Like Mum and I have dealt with different things together compared to what Mum and the other my other brother and sister might have had with Mum. So we've been thrown into a lot of rubbish situations that we've dealt with together. So I think going into business together was a doable thing, because we'd already had that base level kind of understanding of each other, didn't we?
Yes.
From past experiences. But it's just made us stronger, and we love each other's company.
Yeah, we do.
We do have to force ourselves to back off, I think, sometimes. In the morning, I'll just keep nipping in and being like, I'm bored now, should we talk?
When I'm over at my partner's and say, I'm really missing you, Mum.
Yeah, well, I'll call her daily. It's just here.
Do you have separate offices?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a must.
Yeah. Oh, we don't. We're next to each other, and sometimes it can be a bit much.
Really? I've always enjoyed it. Huh?
No, only because if you're talking to somebody and I'm talking to somebody, you can't do it. So one of us has to go downstairs.
We work in the loft, so we have to go
So
down,
it's,
don't we? And
yeah.
one of us has to sit in the living room or somewhere in the garden or wherever. Yeah,
So,
Gosh,
so it can be a bit awkward.
boiling, aren't you?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we've actually got the windows closed as well to cut out the noise. So yeah, we are particularly hot this afternoon.
yeah, the sun's only just coming out here though in Leeds.
Yeah, so we're all right so far.
It's a bit grey this morning, but it has been lovely. Yeah, does get very hot up here.
I mean, if you could do it all again, if you could turn the clock back 3 years, 2 years, 3,
well,
7
years, or whatever, whenever.
Yeah. Sorry, how many years was it? Have I messed that up totally?
You started a while ago, didn't you? And then
2013 we started.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, October.
If you could turn the clock back, would you do it all again?
Oh yes,
I would. Yeah, I'd maybe take some time to. I was employed before, but I would have taken a bit more time to experience an employed life. But if everything else was the same, I would love my life still, wouldn't you?
Yes, I think that if Elle had come into the business maybe later, but she's learnt so much from coming into it earlier. I mean, she was the youngest person to go to the networking group we go to, for example. You know, at 17, she was the youngest person
in the world
to ever join that network. You know, it really helped her with her confidence and with so many things. You know, becoming a keynote speaker when you're 17. I mean, we went into a school to do some training, and we were training one of the teachers who was training her school friends.
Right.
So, you know, it was amazing, the confidence. But would I do it differently? I think I would probably bring her in a bit later, funny enough, although it was good that she came in at that age. I do think she's right to have experienced employment. I think is really important. And I think, you know, then when she came in, the company would have grown at a much more
steady
level.
Whereas I didn't know that was a thing, I suppose, in the past. But that's why I left, because I knew I needed
more structure.
Yeah, structure and stability in a different way.
Yeah.
To realise what life was like. But now I've done that, I wouldn't go back.
Yeah. I suppose experiencing employment is different than working on your own, isn't it? If you're working in an organisation where you have accounts departments and you have marketing departments and all the other things that go with it, it is a whole new different thing when you're then in your business on your own and you have to wear all those hats. You can see the other side of it, can't you? So I think it's a valuable experience being employed. But like you guys, I don't think
it's not many people we know would ever go back to being employed once they've got their own business.
And that's the problem. Where I had been in deep into WeDo before I got employed, I was seeing all these things in front of me that I really wanted control of, and I couldn't because I was, you know, just a cog in the system, I suppose. I wasn't allowed to go do marketing. I was the administrator sort of thing. I can't go do those sales. I'm an administrator. So it really limited all my potential, I felt like at the time. I felt like I was being held back when I know it was just how it was. I'm really glad to be back in it, and I now know what I want to do in our business for us and for our employees in the future.
Yeah.
So if you were to give somebody some advice who was perhaps thinking of going into business with their mother or daughter, what would it be?
Set boundaries,
clearly define the roles. We still really, I think, sometimes work too longer hours. But then if something happens, we can just drop everything and go, which is fantastic. But I think set boundaries and set the job roles so you both clearly know what you're doing. And I think, you know, make sure that you do an accountability on a regular basis so that you know, each of you know that those things are being done, and it doesn't get like 4 weeks down the line and maybe you're talking to your business advisor. We're lucky enough to have one, like Elle said, and he says, well, have you done this? And you both look at each other and it's like,
What?
Wasn't that your job?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, so I would say that's made a major difference to us. And if that had been done right at the start, things would have moved a lot quicker, I think.
Yeah, and making sure to make time for meetings. It seems like, she's my mum, we talk about it all the time. We don't need to do these catch-ups. They're so important. We have a monthly catch-up, which is so productive because it helps us just clear everything out of our brains that we're thinking of and make us think of the bigger picture again rather than getting lost in the grind. But all of that starts with setting boundaries and defining your roles.
And also, at one point we were having weekly meetings, which was really good because then we were saying what each of us is going to do in that week. And then you get to the following week and it's like, right, did you achieve that? And that kept us more on task as well. So we have spoken about going back to the weekly meetings.
Yeah, I think holding each other accountable is really important. And
Yes.
we do an accountability group within our networking meetings. Well, not in the networking meetings, but part of our membership. And just that accountability, just saying that you're going to do something, you feel more compelled to do it because you've shared it with somebody. So it's definitely,
it focuses the mind, doesn't it? I think because I think that's particularly if you work alone, you set yourself goals and targets and things. You write them down with great intention. Then you stick them on one side because life takes over and other things. You're trying to run your business, and then 3 months later, you find the piece of paper that you wrote your goals on. You think, I haven't done any of those, but other things have got in the way. So I think accountability is vital in the business. Yeah, so it's good having two, isn't it? I think to bounce off each other.
Yeah, and we're in our separate groups as well. So that would probably be another really good one is have your own people. So I have a focus group that keeps me accountable as a person in my business and as a person personally, and you have your own people too. So it's not always just the two of us because we need to bounce off of other people. Yeah, it can feel quite overwhelming having one person that you can bounce things off of.
Sure. It's quite funny actually because it's when we first started with our business coach, I would be saying something to Elle and she wouldn't do it, and then he'd say something and she'd be, oh yeah, that's right then.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, and it was quite funny really because it's like having someone there that waves a magic wand and suddenly we're both doing what the other person's been saying to do all the time, but when we it wasn't getting done.
It's only taken 7 years.
Somebody to arbitrate is always useful, isn't it?
Yeah, we've got your daughter to do that, haven't we?
She tends to come
not arbitrate, but she bosses us about.
Points in the right direction sometimes when we get lost. Particularly me. I suffer the most somehow. I'm usually the brunt of the...
You get all the grief from it, don't you? Yeah. But it's stuff that, I say to him, well, are you doing this? Or what have you been doing? And he'll sit there and say no when she asks him. But when I ask him, it's,
Yeah, basically I lie to you. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
We've done that. We do.
Oh, gosh,
so if people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way that they can do that?
So probably the best way is just via our website, which is wedosocialmedia.co.uk. It has links to our social media handles and mobile numbers and whatnot all on there.
Okay. Are you on LinkedIn as well?
Yeah, we do social media again.
Right.
So we're on.
Of course. Why did I ask that question? Of course you are.
There's people you were talking about earlier.
I like a pen and paper.
Me too. Don't think I have a lot of stationery in my place.
She's got loads of pads just in front. They're all over.
I'm the same.
Yeah. Thing is, do you write in them and then forget what you've written in where? Yeah, that's the problem we have sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Yeah.
She's just a few.
Oh, amazing.
Well, what we'll do, just to let you know, we'll put all that information in the show notes anyway. So if people didn't catch it, they'll when they click on, they can get all the details, and then we'll put all your links and everything in there for you as well.
Yeah. So thank you very much, ladies, for being on the show today. Yeah, it's been lovely chatting with you. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. And now we come to the knowledge share part of our podcast for this week. So Tracy, what is our knowledge share for this week?
Okay, well, we've got a good one for online meetings. It's an AI-powered app that removes the background noise from your online meetings. So basically, if you're working at home and somebody decides to mow the lawn in the background, it'll cut out all that noise.
Cool, that sounds like a good tip. Wow, great share there. So get in touch and let us know if you try it and what you think.
So we're almost at the end of this week's show, but before we go, we're excited to tell you about our bonus episode this Friday, the Friday Fix, where we'll be discussing a business-related subject with a fellow business owner. We'll be sharing their advice, thoughts, or knowledge on a particular topic. This Friday's episode is with our very own Ian Earle.
Oh, it's me again.
And we can't get rid of you, can we?
No,
and
you've tried.
It's another one in the series of networking tips.
So, thank you so much for joining us this week on In Business Talks 2. We hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, all we ask is that you simply tell a friend about the show. We'd really appreciate it. Until next time, this is Ian and Tracy, and together
we are In Business. Goodbye.
Goodbye.